Hello everyone, back again to Magic Movie Recaps. Today I'm going to recap a horror drama film from 2014, Maps to the Stars. Please, do subscribe as a gift to support the channel. God bless you for doing that, thanks. A Hollywood family tries to keep their troubled daughter a secret, only to get cornered when she returns to commit the same forbidden acts that her parents had done. In Los Angeles, a woman with burn scars named Agatha arrives and goes up to a car where the driver, Jerome, is asleep. She wakes him up and points out that she called to rent a limousine, but Jerome claims that there weren't any available for the day. With no choice, she gives him an address and pays him for the ride. As Jerome drives her to her destination, Agatha shares that she's visiting family in Los Angeles. She then wonders if he drives for celebrities and proudly claims that she befriended the actress Carrie Fisher via Twitter. He changes the topic by mentioning that he's an aspiring actor and writer. Soon, they arrive at her destination, which turns out to be an empty lot. Agatha explains that the area used to be the childhood home of the actor Benji Weiss, whom she used to babysit. She even prides that she's the inspiration for the actor's movie, Bad Babysitter. During this, Benji visits a sick fan, Cammy, in the hospital. He tries to uplift her mood by promising her gifts. He even hints that he wants to make a movie based on her life, making Cammy smile. After he leaves, however, Benji rants to his assistant about how uninteresting the fan's disease is, so it wouldn't be worthy of a movie. Later, Benji's mother, Christina, updates him about the upcoming sequel of his movie. However, her son needs to take a test to ensure the producers that he's clean from substances. The woman stresses that the producers want to protect their franchise, but Benji believes he's the face of the franchise, so they can't push the project without him. Just then, Benji's father, Stafford, arrives and starts talking about a meditation method he just discovered. His son ignores him and just goes to his room. After this, Stafford binds another actress, Havana, as she tearfully imagines a confrontation with her deceased mother. Her mother hurt and controlled Havana, and Stafford, who's the woman's therapist, is guiding her into releasing her buried anger. To do this, the man presses on the actress's thighs, which supposedly triggers a personal point. This has Havana crying out. After the session, Havana watches Stolen Waters, an old film that her mother, Clarice, starred in. In the movie, Clarice confesses her whimsical love for her partner, and Havana squirms in disgust. Soon, her agent, Jeannie, visits the actress, so Havana asks about her audition for the remake of Stolen Waters. However, Jeannie hasn't heard from the casting director yet, frustrating the actress. The agent doesn't think Havana should even do the movie, but the actress insists. She stresses that everything she's been doing, including her therapy with Stafford, is for her to get the part in the movie. At the height of her emotion, she starts feeling pain, so Havana retreats to the bathroom for some medicine. To her horror, she finds an apparition of Clarice in her bathtub. The entity taunts her fears and mocks how she's portraying herself as her mother's victim while desperately trying to get Clarice's old role. The ghost asserts that Havana isn't good enough for the part, more so since she's already old. Hearing this, the actress can only weep as the entity vanishes. That evening, Benji wakes up to find Cammy in his room. She recites the same declaration of love from Clarice's movie, making the actor nervous. Thinking that she's an obsessed fan, to appease her, he assures her that he'll make her movie, but she clamps a hand over his mouth. Elsewhere, Agatha drinks medicines in her hotel room while reciting the same lines from Stolen Waters. The next day, Benji meets with the executives of Bad Babysitter to discuss the new movie. However, they mention the actor's questionable deeds during the past summer. Christina quickly assures them that her son has learned his lesson, and Jeannie, Benji's agent, agrees. Despite this, the executives insist on ensuring that he's clean, so they inquire about the details of his recovery. This offends Benji, who later gets sick in the bathroom. He's pissed at being questioned and humiliated like what the executives did, but his mother assures him that at least they've bagged his role. That evening, Havana meets with her friend and fellow actor, Sterl. She asks if he knows why the casting director isn't considering her for the Stolen Waters remake, and, to her disappointment, he explains that the part is written for a younger actress. Right now, they're considering a rising star, Azita. This angers Havana, who thinks that the actress just got her roles by sleeping with producers. To appease her, Sterl assures Havana that the director thinks she did a great audition, and this keeps the actress' hopes up. Later that evening, the couple spend time in bed with another actress. However, their time is interrupted when Havana hallucinates Clarice again. This has her running out in tears, so Sterl checks in on her. She lies that she feels horrible because of what they're doing, and all he can advise her is to take medication for it before leaving her alone. The following day, Havana rants to her friend over the phone about how the people at the Stolen Waters production are ignoring her. Her mood suddenly shifts when she spots Carrie Fisher walking by. The actresses greet each other, with Carrie sharing that Jeannie mentioned how Havana is looking for a new assistant. With this in mind, the woman suggests someone she met online. Eventually, Havana interviews Agatha to be her new assistant. Agatha mentions that she met Carrie after the actress posted about writing a novel about a girl with burn scars like her. Curious, Havana asks about her scars. So the younger woman recounts when she was working at a planetarium when a fire started. Hearing this, Havana chuckles at how Carrie thought the woman would be a good assistant for her, given that her mother died in a fire. This makes Agatha feel awkward about the situation, but the actress assures her that she feels a connection with her new assistant. Having landed the job, Havana calls Jerome to drive her to the part in Hollywood where Clarice's star is. She kneels before the deceased actress' name and recites her line from Stolen Waters again. Afterward, the two eat at a diner where Agatha tells a different story about her scars, mentioning that she might have gotten drunk and burned herself. Suddenly, the woman invites Jerome to a date over the weekend, and he awkwardly refuses, noting that he has to work on his script. The woman then mentions that she has a great idea for a movie involving forbidden love. She adds that it's inspired by her parents, who are apparently siblings. With this, she invites Jerome to write it and even star in it together. Exasperated, Jerome lies that he's seeing someone else, so he can't entertain her advances. This angers Agatha, so she storms off. On another day, Benji shares with his therapist how Cammy had apparently died the night he saw her in his room. He wonders if he's gone crazy, but his therapist thinks he needs to start confronting his past. Benji figures she means his sister, who always wanted to marry him. She even had him perform a made-up ceremony with her while their parents were away. His sister gave him some medicine after the ceremony, and it knocked him out. When he woke up, Benji was in the hospital, after being taken away from his burning home. He never saw his sister again, and his parents refused to talk about her. His therapist believes his trauma is the reason why he was seeing Cammy. Meanwhile, Havana shares that she's seeing Clarice to Stafford. The therapist thinks it's a manifestation of the actress unleashing her frustrations about her mother, assuring her that they can tame those hallucinations. With this in mind, Havana mentions her assistant, who also suffered burns like her mother. She believes that hiring the woman is helping her heal. Learning details about the assistant bothers Stafford momentarily, but he agrees that hiring someone who reminds her of her mother is a sign that Havana isn't scared of Clarice anymore. When he gets home, however, Stafford shares the news with his wife, who's visibly concerned to learn that Agatha is around. Christina worries that she'll bother them, so she instructs her husband to convince Havana to fire her. Stafford disagrees, believing that keeping Agatha busy with Havana will buy them time. His wife points out that the woman might come after Benji, though Stafford admits he's more concerned about the tabloids finding out about her. This disappoints Christina. The man then exits their room and overhears his son reciting the lines from Stolen Waters. He checks in on him, and Benji lies that he's practicing a script. Stafford then uses this opportunity to tell his son that his sister, Agatha, might be back. She was in a hospital all this time, but since she's now considered an adult, the court couldn't hold her there anymore. With that, Stafford plans to request a restraining order against her, but Benji is offended by this. The father assures him that they tried to help Agatha, but Benji isn't convinced. With no choice, Stafford just instructs his son to tell him if she tries to contact him, which Benji sarcastically promises. The following day, Jeannie leaves a voicemail for Havana, reporting that the director chose Azita instead of her. This has the actress crying out in heartbreak. Soon, Benji starts filming for his new movie, though he's pissed that all the good jokes are going to his co-star, Roy. Meanwhile, Jerome catches Agatha shopping with Havana. This allows her to introduce him to her employer. Making things more awkward, Jerome is actually chauffeuring Azita, who's with her son, Micah. Havana pretends to be happy for the other actress for landing the role, even lying that she was only interested in it momentarily. After this encounter, Havana gets a massage to relax. However, she hallucinates Clarice again, who ridicules her faltering belief that hiring Agatha is helping her cope with her relationship with her mother. The frightened Havana pulls away from her touch, but Clarice continues to accuse her of lying about her traumatic experiences. She asserts that the woman only imagined that her stepfather was harming her while her mother ignored the signs. According to the entity, Havana also blames herself for the fire that killed Clarice. Havana can only cry as she listens to this. When Agatha reports to work the next day, she finds the actress looking sick. Because of this, Havana instructs her assistant to pick up some comfort food and medicine. She also tasks the woman to move some heavy plant pots from her garden. Just then, Jeannie visits Havana to inform her that Azita's son had just died in an accident. Despite the tragedy, the agent thinks they can use this to their advantage. Since Azita is in no condition to work, the casting people are considering Havana to replace her. This puts Havana in a sudden good mood. Later, the actress meets with the movie's director at the studio, which also allows her assistant to finally visit Benji in his trailer in the same location. The actor gets nervous around her, but his sister assures him that she's here to make amends. Without hesitation, Benji pointedly asks if she started the fire in their house. Agatha hesitates, but admits to it, though she insists she didn't want to hurt him. However, Benji points out that she also gave him medication to knock him out. Agatha defends that she was hallucinating at the time, but her brother gets frustrated and tells her to leave. Stafford soon learns that Agatha visited his son, so he confronts her in her room. That night, his daughter assures him that she only wants to make amends to help her recover. Agatha then asks why her parents never visited her, but Stafford asserts that they don't believe in rewarding her violent tendencies. Agatha insists that she's changed, but Stafford thinks she's just after money. With that, he gives her $10,000 and instructs her to leave their lives for good. He also threatens her from seeing her mother and brother again before kissing her goodbye. Meanwhile, Benji finds kids in his pool, only to realize that it's Cammy and Micah. Afraid, he yells at the ghosts to leave him alone, so they drop into the water and disappear. Later that night, Agatha throws out her medication, offended at how her father dismissed her efforts. Instead of following his instructions, the woman seeks more reason to stay in town by seeing Jerome, who's now more comfortable about dating her. She shares her blossoming romance with Havana. One day, mentioning that she started dating Jerome, the actress congratulates her, then moves on to instruct her on her chores for the day. That night, a distraught Benji meets with friends and insists on using substances to relax, breaking his abstinence. This ends in tragedy when a dazed Benji plays with a supposedly empty firearm and accidentally hits his friend's dog. The next day, Agatha visits her mother, who hesitantly lets her into their house. This allows Christina to admit that she never visited her daughter since she was afraid of what she did. As if to explain what happened, Agatha shares that she used to dream about her and Benji getting married. It didn't make sense to her until she found her parents' lockbox while they were away. This led to her discovering that Stafford and Christina were siblings. Christina defends that they didn't know they were siblings since they were separated as kids. Just then, Stafford returns home, and despite Christina assuring him that everything is alright, the man confronts his daughter. Agatha tries to calm him down by promising that she now understands that they didn't know the truth until it was too late. Still, the infuriated Stafford pushes his daughter to the floor and harms her until Christina comes between them. Despite this, Stafford carries Agatha and throws her out the door. Only after she drives off does Christina realize that her daughter stole her wedding ring during the altercation. Meanwhile, Benji continues to get outshined by his co-star, so he confronts Roy in the bathroom. Just then, he hallucinates Cammy again. Pissed at the hallucinations, he chokes the ghost, only to find that he's harmed Roy instead. This lands him in police custody. Thankfully, Roy survives the incident, though Stafford is pissed that his son is getting replaced for what he'd done. Elsewhere, Havana hires Jerome, only to ask for intimate details about his relationship with Agatha. She also seduces the driver, thus leading to them doing the deed in his car while Agatha watches from Havana's house. The actress then goes into her home and finds her assistant with bruises on her face. Despite this, Havana berates her for being late and looking messy. The actress continues scolding the woman, leading Agatha to snap. The woman picks a trophy from her table and bludgeons Havana with it. Not long after, Benji visits Havana's home to see his sister, having escaped the hospital he was detained in. He confesses that he feels lost and can't bring himself to see his friends or go home. Seeing that he's finally chosen her as the only person he can trust, Agatha shows him that she's taken Christina's ring. She then instructs him to get their father's. That night, Stafford returns home and finds Christina on fire outside. He takes a lawn chair to drop her into the pool, but he's too late. Benji soon finds his father catatonic in grief, so he takes the man's wedding ring like Agatha asked him to. The siblings then drive up to the lot where their childhood home used to be. There, they drink their medicines before beginning their pseudo-wedding, accepting how their very existence and love are forbidden. With this in mind, they lay together, awaiting the death they believe they deserve and the freedom from Hollywood's secrets and pressures that come along with it. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, do a comments and share to others. See you in our next video.